G'day, ladies and gents. Welcome back, or at least welcome to the first live stream. Geez, look at my hair. My hair is doing some things. Apologies for that. But and the hat is as dusty as anything. I can't really quite work that. I need a leather hat potentially, which might change things. Might make me look a bit like Freddie Mercury. But anyway, we are back with another live stream, the first for season 2025. So it is a pleasure to be back. Figured might as well do it. Teams have just been released. I haven't had a look as yet as to who are the ins and outs, but there are, I am told, a couple of doozies, one of which is from Adam himself, the number one ticket holder of Supercoach Edge, undisputed, of course. He actually said in the Discord, can't believe that Voss has dropped Campo. And really, I'm not surprised. Nothing surprises me, really, when it comes to Michael Voss and Carlton. So he is definitely one, spoiler alert, but let us jump in. I'll have to open up another window here. I must say that StreamYard has actually upped its game in the off-season. They've added a few things into the back end here and made it look awfully confusing. So if I click the wrong button, apologies in advance. But let me just see if I can pull up the AFL website. And I mean, I can't even do that because I have to use, for some reason, let me know as well, those people tuning in, do you use Google Chrome? Or am I in the minority here? Because I always use Mozilla Firefox. That's my preferred browser, and I am using a Mac, of course, but I never really use Chrome, and you're kind of forced to use Chrome with StreamYard because they're not optimized for Firefox, which is very, very annoying. But anyway, that's by the by. Let us open up the team. So I'm just in the back end here, just adjusting things. Team lineups, here we go. Now, hopefully this works. Let us bring it up on screen, share the right screen. Don't want to be sharing the wrong one. Where are we? That's it. I think it's working now. Maybe. We'll stick with that. We have a few people commenting through. Of course, Adam, the man who I spoke of, always first in the line. Such is his thirst for all things Supercoach Edge. So I really do appreciate you as always. You know that, mate. We are back indeed. Tom Wilms, Camporelli. Now, yes, that is exactly right. Anyway, we'll get to it in a moment. Skitsy, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Flemo, thanks for joining us. Very, very stiff indeed. And I'm stiff with anger. That's what I am at the moment. Chrome for you, Skitsy. And Ed, love to see you joining us as well, mate. Well, let's have a look at the teams, go through the ins and outs. Obviously, we've seen the team for tonight's match, so we might try and wrap this up within half an hour. I am, for lack of a better word, I'm required to go out and get some dinner tonight. So I will be doing that just before the footy starts. So I want to sit down and watch that game, obviously, between the Dons and the Power. But as you can see, Saad El Hawley, he's making his debut. Ridley comes back in. Out goes Archie Perkins and Sartis, which let me know as well in the chat, because I haven't seen it. In terms of the timeline for Sartis, have they actually told us as to when he is looking to make a return or how long he's out for? Of course, that broken hand, which Bowl reports he actually played through, which is interesting. But anyway, Power, they have Radaglia, Ivan Solo, and Cochrane. The man who I have read has Tourette's. So that's going to be very interesting. No doubt he's medicated for that, but good to see. He's actually the first player, I am told, to play with Tourette's. It might give him an edge. Who knows? At least you'd know that his sledging game would be top-notch. Even if he wasn't meaning to sledge people, that would be quite funny. Lockie Jones goes out, Ryan Burton and Lukosius as well. We do have a few people joining us in the chat. Edward, thank you, mate. You've said that Sartis will return post his bye, which, of course, I think the Dons have their bye next week, which I'm actually holding Sartis because I'm pretty happy with my rookies thus far. And I'm looking to use him as a bit of a loophole for the, of course, bevy of cash cow rookie options off the bench to try and work out who the best scorer is that I can loop on field. So that's part of the reason why I'm sticking with Sartis. So good to see that he would potentially return after his bye. Rusty Chicken, another regular in the Discord, mate. Good to see you. Hopefully you are well. James, thanks for joining us. Is it worth using a boost to go from Hasty to Henderson? who would be my second boost gone. Oh, I'm hesitant. Have been hesitant to really jump on any of the St Kilda rookies because of Ross Lyon, and he's kind of proved that to date. But um, I don't know what the price is for Hasty, but I imagine that he wouldn't be as bottom priced as Henderson, so I probably would give you some cash. I am just a little bit worried with Henderson's job security with Cozzy returning next round, because virtually he's kind of warming the seat for Cozzy in a sense. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him relegated to being the sub potentially. I think he will stick in the team for Melbourne, but I mean, the payoff there is that he is bottom priced, 99K. So even if he is a slow burn and his cash generation is kind of halted by him being the sub, I think it's fine. You can get away with it. So that's kind of my thoughts around that. Let me just have a quick look at the pricing for Hasty. But as you can see there on screen, I will move down here. Jordan Boyd is back, which I'm happy with. Francis Evans, I'm not happy with. I don't know. Again, he's the new Orazio Fantasia and doesn't warrant a selection. He's been punted by two previous teams in Port and Geelong. And out goes Cooper Lord, who, again, should be playing in the first and should be in the starting 18. And Lucas Camporelli, who's actually offered a fair bit across the wing and been one of the more promising prospects that we've had in what has been a shit 2025. So as a Carlton supporter, I am fuming, but we'll get into that in my other YouTube channel in Blue Baggers Edge, which I will put up a video for that very, very soon. For the Doggies, Liam Jones returns, James O'Donnell back. Out goes Arthur Jones and Taylor Duray. So with that, let me just bring up Hasty's price. He was 119.9K, so you'd be getting around about roughly 20K, but depends on the strength of your other rookies, James. It's hard to really say as to whether or not you need to use a boost to bring in Henderson. I would probably say no. I'd only use the boost really if you are lacking the likes of, O'Driscoll, Levi Ashcroft. Who else is there? The other dude that I'm thinking of, Xavier Lindsay Xavier, two first names. Don't trust the bloke, but he's a good rookie, good cash cow. All the other rookies, I think outside of that, they're not really must-haves, and I don't see Henderson as being a must-have, but up to you, mate, because it's hard to say without seeing your team. Slim, good to have you join us as usual, mate. Cracking, mate. It is a cracker. Great to be back. And all the usuals in the chat, indeed, Adam. Good to see. I have actually started the live stream a little bit later because there is another content creator out there. I think there's actually a few that are doing live streams now. So totally up to you as to what you want to watch. I just thought I'd jump on and this is part of the reason why you've touched on it there, ads in terms of the regulars, just to say g'day and do a little bit of a live stream because some people have been asking for just that. Let's continue through the teams. For the Ds, we have Jefferson, who goes out, Spargo, Woden, Daniel Turner, and Blake Howes. In comes Stephen May, Aiden Johnson, Jack Billings, Melksham, and Langford. And for the Suns, in comes McAndrew, Jed Walter, and Flanders, who is back. Thank the Lord as well for my keeper league, Adam. You know all about that, who actually beat me the other week. And out goes Charlie Ballard, Ainsworth, and Sexton. Now for the next game, St Kilda Richmond, we have Travalia making his debut, which is good to see. Cooper Sharman making a return. Out goes Hunter Clark and Liam Stocker. For the Tigers, out goes Sam Banks and Liam Fawcett. And Lynch and Sonzi in. Schoenmaker as well, interesting, is the emergency. Harry Boyd as well. Hasty might even be the... Actually, no, you can't because I have to go through the starting interchange. So scratch that. But at least it's good signs that Hasty's still on the cusp. For the Hawks, we have Bruce coming in for McDonald. And for the Giants, we have out, which a lot of people were expecting this, James Leake. So if he's in your team, he's made his way, unfortunately. Grozowski, Mike Wazowski, he goes out. And Callum Brown out as well. Making his debut for the Giants, Jake Stringer and Jesse Hogan returning, along with Kieran Briggs from that concussion. So he might be a nice little, I guess, cheap price in the week or weeks to follow, I should say, because he will drop price, no doubt. Good to see Connor Stone keeping his spot in the team, but might be the sub. So a little bit of a worry there, but hopefully you're not too reliant upon him on field. For the Cats, a big in, Bailey Smith, the Baslenka, he is back. Mark O'Connor goes out. And good to see as well, there was a little bit of discussion in the Discord about Connor O'Sullivan. He does keep his spot, and he's actually on field as well. So even better with that. Tom Stewart as well is sticking around in the team, but it means that College Ashney hasn't been declared fit to return to the team. But personally, I'm going for Connor O'Sullivan, again, named on field. He's played, I think, 91% time on ground in his first game, and I think it was 93% in his second game. Might be flipped, potentially, just going off memory there. But, yeah, good to see that he is actually getting the runs on the board and must be really, really fit to be able to do that. But anyway, for the Lions, Charlie Cameron and Lohman come in. Out goes McLaughlin and McKenna. Sunday games, we have extended benches, of course, so, these aren't definitive lineups at the moment. Dowling, Nankervis, and Toby Murray potentially making his debut in. No outs at this stage. And for the Roos, Hardiman, Melly, and Dawson potentially in. The Derby or the Derby, depending on where you are from. Matt Flynn making a return. Jack Williams in, and Bo Allen along with Jack Graham, but no outs at this stage. You would think that, Bailey Williams has been named in the ruck as well as a starting ruck, so probably not a good sign, reading between the lines there for Matt Flynn. And because I think Williams went off injured or sore at one stage, late in the piece, likewise Archer Reed, but both are named. And for the Dockers, Dudley, Warner, and Reedy and Aish. In, out goes Brandon Walker. Those are the only changes at the moment. And that is it, ladies and gents. Those are the teams. Let us know your thoughts, ins, outs, how you are impacted. I'm impacted in terms of my, bench. Sartis out and Camporelli out as well, which, again, I'm just another reason to add to the list to get rid of Michael Voss. Hopefully that campaign spreads, not just within the Carlton community, but outside as well. Now he's actually scuttling our best laid plans when it comes to Supercoach. Boyd's the other player that obviously hasn't been selected, that is on my bench, but that's totally fine there, not really impacting my team. That's it for me, but let us know your thoughts, how it is impacting you. We will go through the comments. Paul, how are you, mate? Good work. Good luck this week. Likewise yourself, mate. Hopefully you have started the season on absolutely just scorching form. Rusty Chicken, difference is this in this live stream, you get logical content. I won't be making any disparaging remarks to anyone else, but again, as I always say, it is your choice who you want to check out. Normally, if it was me, I'd kind of just check out everyone and just get a little bit of a taste of each, but I'm that way. But yeah, I've got my favourites that I won't say who they are, but one of them I don't think live streams. It is Supercoach with DR. But Adam, you said beating you has passed on the non-playing curse in drafts. So 8 non-playing players. Wow. Well, I'm glad I'm getting Flanders back, because I'm still missing Goulden. I'm missing Mills. I'm missing pretty much 90% of my team again, like last season. Kate, good to see you joining us, Kate, from the Discord. I think that's the same Kate. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Likelihood of Bailey Smith actually playing? I think he will. He has been named. They said he was touch and go for last week, and from what I've read, he actually sustained the calf niggle in-game in his first game. So kind of probably could have played last week, but they were just being a little bit cautious with him. Xander, you said Camporelli and Leak getting dropped sold me. Yeah, hopefully it hasn't impacted you too much, mate. But yeah, just at this stage of the season, you want all cash cows playing if you can. Just in terms of obviously price appreciation as quick as possible. But you're always going to have players at this stage of the season that either get dropped or get injured when it comes to rookies. So I wouldn't fret too much. I wouldn't be trading out for anyone that even is about to ask the question. Don't trade out Campo. He will be back in the team. Take it from me as a Carlton supporter. What he showed And again, I don't know why he's being dropped because he's actually been showing some really good form, but I do suspect that he will be back in the team at some stage. But yes, I'm holding Campo. As I said before, you asked the question, but yes, you have asked the question there. I didn't look at the comment that I just put on screen. Xander, you have said no, holding Leak, though. I would probably flip the other way around. If I was you, Xander, I would be keeping Campo, getting rid of the Leak. I mean, it's hard as well because there aren't really any decent options to trade to in defence compared to the midfield. And again, comes down to what rookies and cash cows you don't have in your team that you could trade to. So if you are missing the big dogs, O'Driscoll, Ashcroft, Nevitt, Xavier Lindsay, all those guys, then yes, I could warrant it. But I would probably go early even and trade Leak to Riley Bice if you really wanted to. You could even just, hold off a week. You don't necessarily need to trade Leak to another cash cow unless he is on field. But again, slim pickings, and I wouldn't be trading him to a Reed, Trainer. O'Sullivan, you probably could, but he's a bit more expensive, I think. O'Sullivan's 148k, and Leak is 119, so you'd need cash in the bank to do that. But yeah, I guess so. Makes sense. Tom Willems, I chose to not hold Sartis and went down to Hendo, but now I'm unsure. Again, it comes down to whether or not you need that cash, mate, because Sartis down to Hendo would probably give you, 90k or something roughly. And if you need that 90k to then put on the head of another player to trade in, maybe a high-priced rookie like a O'Driscoll, Ashcroft. Again, I speak about these guys constantly because in my eyes, you need to get these rookies and cash cows in first and foremost, ahead of any, mid-price corrections, all that sort of stuff, even like primo corrections. But I will maybe a little bit later go through my changes, kind of to round out this video to give you a little bit of perspective of what I have done, which I think is kind of this. I don't think I've changed the trades from what I mentioned in my team talk video. So if you go and check that out, it'll be in there as well, the explanations, everything else. Caleb, good to have you joining us, mate. Who do you like for the VC and the C? 50-50 on Rosie, TDK into McRae. I've actually gone McRae as my VC. Facing Richmond, of course, I just think the quality of opposition and the form, of course, of McRae should help his cause. So I've gone him VC into Zorko as my captain. Otherwise, I'll probably go Zorko VC into Cherry, maybe. Good old Cherry Pie. I like Rosie as well. I don't own him, unfortunately, but Rosie is a definite good option. TDK up against English. Yes, potentially. I think English gave up a fair few points last season, so don't mind that either. Paul, if Scorching is 44k rank, then yeah. Got some big moves to make. Well, as I said in my team review, mate, like I'm ranked 28k or something, and I'm 280 points, I think, roughly off the top 100. So at this stage of the year, you can make up ranks so quickly, and I've done that every single year. So that's why I'm not really worried in any sense of the word, because things change so quickly, and it's from this point onwards where teams start to differentiate. Tactics come into it that are different for every single team based on structure, and I've kind of used this week and last week to really, I guess, boost my structure, solidify it, strengthen it a bit more, because from here on out, it's going to be obviously jumping on those cash cows that appreciate in price and are the best to get in your team, because without them, you're not going to be able to, generate the cash to bring in those big primos in your team. So don't fret, mate. Rusty had been expecting a Campo drop, not because I think he should be. Probably expecting it because Voss is absolutely off his chops. Typical Boomer coach move to get rid of the young kid learning the craft. He actually was giving it a crack. Yeah, 100%. And it kind of defies what Voss, I mean, you probably wouldn't have seen it unless you're a Carlton supporter, and you're a nuffy Carlton supporter like me, but have a look, because Carlton actually released a video with Voss. It was post-game in the rooms, and he was like chatting to the players. Normally, you'd go into the rooms and there's like a separate room in the MCG. I'm speaking about experience here. When I used to work for both Carlton and Collingwood as a videographer, the coach would bring the players in. There's like a back room where he'd talk privately to the players. debrief, and then they'd go and do their stretching and everything else, and what they call like the warm downs as opposed to cool downs. And he actually spoke to the players in the main training area in the rooms, and he spoke about like setting standards, and he was virtually saying that like the standard that Carlton showed against Hawthorn was on par with his expectations, and the players shouldn't drop their heads. And it's just like, if you're saying that and you're dropping players that are actually showing, playing with their heart and, busting their ass, like Campo, it flies in the face of what he's saying. And it's funny because when he says that in the video, if you look very, very closely, Blake Acres in the foreground actually rolls his eyes and shakes his head. And it's like, if you're saying that and the senior players are like disagreeing with you, there's something wrong. But anyway, that's enough Carlton talk here. But yeah, just stupid shit. Alex, how are you, mate? Any risk with using a boost on Ashcroft if he is a sub risk? I don't think he will be the sub, mate. Talking about Levi there, I assume. He's shown enough in his opening couple of games where I think he's proved himself. Like, they were going to use him as the sub in the his first game because they probably didn't know how he's going to adjust to the speed of the game. But if you've seen any of his first few games, he's actually looked really, really good and adjusted to the speed very, very easily. No surprise because he's an absolute gun. So yeah, I wouldn't be worried about that. But if you're talking about in terms of Ashcroft being the sub and then boosting to bring in another player because you're playing Ashcroft on field, yeah, no. I think you probably have enough players on your bench. Like, if you have to play, say for example, Ashcroft is a sub and you need to play, say, a Hewitt or a Kako or, someone else on field. Xavier Lindsay, I'm sure you've got him. Play him on field. Yeah. Would you prioritise selling Perryman to a primo like Whitfield or a Dale versus trading Peatling to a Callaghan? I'd probably try and do both of those moves, mate. I think it's kind of killing two birds with one stone here because you're not only bringing in, I think a must-have player in Callaghan, in my eyes anyway. I think he's going to be a breakout player in the mould of a Tom Green and LDU and the like. So I think he's kind of a must-have, considering that he's going to go up in price a fair bit. And then obviously you're correcting from Peatling, who's kind of a bit of a failed mid-pricer. Likewise, Perryman as well. So I would kind of be doing that move and bring in a primo like Whitfield. I've personally brought in Dale. Actually, I'll read you out the trades that I've done just for a bit of context here. So I've traded Perryman to Zorko. I traded Short to Dale. And then I've sort of rookie corrected here, Finn O'Sullivan out for Sullivan. That is Connor O'Sullivan in defence. So I've kind of gone for like, a failed mid-pricer in Short to, sort of a mid-pricer sub-primo category in Bailey Dale, who's going to go up in price and has shown pretty good form. And then a failed mid-pricer in Perryman up to a genuine primo in Zorko, which I wanted to start Zorko on my team anyway, but went for Holmes instead. So to have both of those guys in my team, I'm happy with. But I was just, as you'll see there, I prioritised the defence. Zorko, O'Sullivan and Dale. It's no surprise there's a commonality between all of them being in defence because I feel as though with the D6 position being so unreliable and the fact that we need to rely on rookies in that position is pretty shit. I mean, it's best 18, so more likely than not, the low scores, say, of a trainer or a Zach Reed or whoever, their score is going to drop out. But I'm kind of future-proofing here, getting my defence set for when we go back to being the best 22, because we don't want to be relying upon rookies having scores of 24 in D6 when it's best 22 because we obviously have to gobble up that score. So that's kind of my thinking behind that. Tactically, for you, Alex, let me know if you can do both of those moves, mate, or at least if you go Perryman to a Dale and then, or even a Whitfield. I actually like Whitfield as well. And then Peatling to a Callaghan. And I'd definitely use a boost in your position, mate, which it sounds like you're not going to. But I've always said, use boosts before price changes, because this is your last chance to get, I call them free looks, because obviously prices aren't changing. We're getting a proper look at roles, not compared to pre-season, because Perryman, we saw, he looked good, looked like he had a good role. Then as soon as the season started, his role changed, became ultra defensive, so on and so forth. So really use the boosts while you can. So don't be too gun shy when it comes to boosts, because use them now. Whereas I think tactically, they come less relevant for me anyway, in terms of the way I play. I see them as a cheat code to correcting my team, getting the best rookies that I may have missed, getting rid of those mid prices that don't have the role, so on and so forth. So let us know what if you have the ability to use another trade, Alex, and might be able to help you out a bit further. Slim, here's the super coach and all the carnage that comes with it. I love it almost as much as I love this live stream. PS, the Discord Cash League banter is coming soon. Yes, it is coming soon. I've got to update that as well. Apologies, I have had some. You might have seen it. I mentioned it in the Discord that I've had a fair bit on my plate in recent weeks, if not the past month and a bit. So hence the reason why as well that the weekly episodes have kind of been coming out a little bit later compared to when I would have liked them to. I'm kind of balancing a couple of things on my plate in my personal life at the moment, so apologies for that. But yeah, I'll try and find time to drum up the banter a bit more and get people up and about. But good to have you, Slim, as always, mate. Rusty, as a Port fan, Voss was an excellent stoppage coach, but I think even now the footprint of his teachings of use of the ball are still there. Kick contest isn't how you... Exactly right. It's so one-dimensional the way he coaches. And it's funny, I mentioned this, and there's so many, not oblivious, but Carlton fans that just stick their head in the stand because they're like, look at how many coaches we've sacked historically. And it's like, well, part of that reason is we're not actually hiring the right coaches. Like when we hired Michael Voss, we painted ourselves into that corner because we previously hired inexperienced coaches in Teague and Bolton, and yet we didn't put the right assistant coach structure around them. Like there was a senior assistant coach in Neil Craig when Bolton was there. Then when Neil Craig left, he wasn't replaced. So Bolton was out at sea. He got given the sack. Teague inherited things and didn't actually be given the... sorry, someone's at the door here. Inherited the team and didn't have any support in the assistant coaching side of things either. So it's just frustrating. It's Carlton, classic Carlton, really. Like it's the footy department not doing the right thing by the senior coach, and yeah, being absolute shit. And then it kind of is a flow-on effect. And then the club's like, oh, let's go for experience. The only experience that was on offer was Ross Lyon, who I think's past it. And then we go for Michael Voss, who had experience at Brisbane, and it was experience that saw him given the sack. And it looks as though the key learnings that he, apparently had at Port haven't translated across as a senior coach. But anyway, that's that. Kalen Papa, how are you, mate? Do you think Max Hall is a chance to be sub, or is it more likely to be Travalia or Garcia or one of the others listed on the bench? It's always hard to say, mate, especially when it comes to Ross Lyon, because you think one thing and he kind of does the other. I think Max Hall won't be the sub. I think it probably will be Hugo Garcia again. Travalia probably wouldn't surprise me either. They're kind of, I think, trying to ease him into senior footy. So I would say it's kind of between Garcia or Travalia, if I was to guess, mate. So I think Max Hall should be fine, but at least that's not a Sunday game. It's a Saturday game. So you might be able to adjust things with a bit of time up your sleeve, mate, once the subs are released. Paul, is it worth holding 400k this week to upgrade Laylaw to Dacos? Ooh, next week. That's a very good point, mate. So Dacos, so he dropped 29.4k, has a break even of 115. Obviously on the buy. I do like the sound of that, but that's a lot of coin to pour into one player. And I think at this time of year, I would be, just because you're eating up your entire salary cap by doing that one move, I would prefer to put that money on the head of, say, a Perryman or another failed min pricer and say Peatling or a short, just because it means that, you'll only use, 200, 250K and be left over with about 150K in the bank to then put on the head of your next trade for an upgrade. Because the way that I play is, and I speak about it in my team talk video, what I refer to as trading cadence. So it means that virtually getting in like a bit of a rhythm in a sense with trading. And the key to that is having enough money left over in the salary cap to then use the next week. And then it's downgrading, upgrading, downgrading, upgrading. So each time you're leaving yourself with a little bit of money that you can then use for next week. So you're not having to rely on using a boost. And it comes in handy as well. When you run out of boosts, you've already got that money in your bank and you've got that rhythm where it's one up, one down, one up, one down. You're only using 2 trades a week in order to upgrade your team. So I don't mind the sound of that, but I don't like doing it. Like Layla's probably, or Lawler should say, sorry, that's how it's pronounced. He's only going to go up maybe 20, 30K at most. And I think that's kind of a waste. You want to be maxing out, at minimum for me anyway. I try to max out with cash cows at 100K. I know we've got 40 trades, but I would, as I said, look to do it with a failed mid-pricer. Even, I mean, yeah, Lawler, yeah, he's 200K at the moment. Oh, I don't know. Like it's good in theory because I love Dacos and he, as a super coach anyway, and he's kind of a must-have. But could you go for potentially another player like a Callahan, a Chera, maybe one of those players that doesn't eat into your entire salary cap? But it's good in theory, mate. Good in theory. You've said I'll have all the must-haves in the mids. I assume you're talking about cash cows there, and not primos. But that's good to hear, mate. Tyler, I need help. Do I bring in Levi Ashcroft or Connor O'Sullivan? Levi Ashcroft, 100%. He's got the job security. He's got the scoring potential as well. Week in, week out. Lock it and load him in. Connor O'Sullivan, I think he has a few unknowns with regards to his scoring potential and probably even more so with his job security because College Ashney's yet to make a return from injury and it might see him pushed maybe even to the bench. He's playing a whole heap of game time at the moment, which is good to see for a rookie. But yeah, 100% lock in Levi Ashcroft, mate, and throw away the key. Levi Ashcroft named on the bench. Are we sure I don't think he'll be the sub, mate. He's that good a player. They'd be shooting themselves in the foot if they were to do that. But let me have a quick look at the bench. If I was to guess, I would say Bruce Revel will be the starting sub, which he's been the starting sub and even the subbed off player more often than not. So Archie won't be the sub. Will Ashcroft shouldn't be the sub. Kyle Lohman, they might even pull a bit of a shifty there because he's coming back from injury. Ease him back in. Starting sub, who knows? But I'm fairly confident that it will be Bruce Revel as the starting sub. Also, do I bring in Bailey Dale, Jordan Clark, or Jack Sinclair? Depends what spot you're filling, mate. If it's a D3, 4, 5, or 6, I assume it's either D3, 4, or 5. I think out of those 3, I prefer Sinclair. Jordan Clark's really good as well, and Bailey Dale, I think, is fair value at the moment for what he's producing. I just don't know, D4, okay, you've said. I just don't know if, like, I've brought Bailey Dale into my team as my D4, and the reason being it's allowed me to bring in Zorko as well, because otherwise I wouldn't have the money to bring in Zorko and Bailey Dale at the same time. So it's kind of bridging that gap for me. I don't expect Bailey Dale to be a top 6 defender. He still could. He never really has been, but I expect him to be in the bracket of sort of a D7 to D10. But I think for the time being, he's kind of that conduit at the moment, for short term anyway, to a primo down the line, but kind of taking a little bit of a gamble on him maybe paying off as a bit of a keeper, but he started well. He started very, very well, so he's got that to his credit, but it's a bit of a coin flip there, mate. Who else do you have in D1 and D2 and D3? Because if you're going for Bailey Dale as well, that I imagine will leave you with a little bit of coin left over. So, if that coin is beneficial to put towards the next trade, then you'd probably say Bailey Dale. Sheasel, Zorko, Roberts. They're all good. Yeah, Roberts, I wouldn't say he's an out-and-out primo. I mean, he probably should be a top 6 defender, but I've got Roberts as well. And you probably need like Jordan Clark. I'm fairly confident Jordan Clark will it'll go up in price, I think, but you kind of teeter around about that at most 600K mark. Jack Sinclair, he's kind of, 590 odd from memory? Yeah, 592.2K. You'll probably teeter around that same mark as well. So it's up to you, mate. It is up to you. It's really hard to say because I don't know the look of the rest of your team either. Because of that difference of 70K odd between going for Dale compared to Clark or Sinclair, if that helps potentially upgrade another line, like a player in another line in your team, say this week or even next week, then it might be worthwhile going for Bailey Dale for the interim. But I do love Jack Sinclair ahead of Jordan Clark when we're talking about primos. Bailey Dale, he's decent enough. So it's totally up to you, mate, without seeing the rest of your team. Let's go back through. Josh, good to see you, mate. I've got all the rookies needed for cash generation. I was thinking of trading Horne-Francis for Rankin, with Horne-Francis getting tagged in coming weeks. The thing I don't like about trading Horne-Francis, and something that is the reason why I haven't even thought about it, is because I still think he's going to be a top 6 forward. And if I was to trade him out, I'd need to use a trade to bring him back in, which in my eyes I think is a waste of a trade. Rankin will be a top 6 forward as well, but I don't like sideways trading at this stage. And I know it's obviously you're talking about matchups and stuff and tags and everything else. Yes, I expect Durham to maybe run with him tonight, but yeah, I don't see the value in that personally, longer term. So I would say no personally. In QCT, how are you, mate? Boost Will Day into another 530 primo or hold. I would personally, in his case, I would. I don't see Day as being a keeper compared to Horne-Francis. That's the difference there. And Day is getting tagged as well, but I expect that to continue with Day, and he can't handle a tag. That's the other thing. And I think compared to Horne-Francis, who can push forward, kick goals, I think Will Day's a bit more one-dimensional. I know he's played up forward and he can kick goals, but Will Day for me, I think, is now's a good time to get out of him. And hence the reason why I wasn't keen on him even after his first game, because it was kind of an anomaly. Kicked those 2 goals late in the game that kind of swayed the victory in favour of the Hawks. Hence the reason why he was bumped right up in price. So I can see Day averaging around about 80 to 90, but I don't think he's going to be a keeper. And I would 100% correct him to a Callaghan if you don't have him. That'll give you around about 90K in the bank as well. Even a Chera, who is around about the same price as Callaghan, but I go for Callaghan ahead of Chera. And yep, correct it that way, 100%. Shifting down, we have Jimmy. How are you, mate? Farrell, a good pick. I would say no. I don't think he's going to be a keeper. 445K on the dot. Has actually scored quite well, yeah, 100 and 104. I mean, if you've got a short, if you are, like to live dangerously, you could potentially pivot from, Jaden Short to Kane Farrell, maybe. But I wouldn't be putting money on the head of a rookie to get Farrell into your team, just because I don't think he's a definitive keeper at this stage. Yeah, but I don't mind him. Jimmy, especially considering he is a pod. He's 0.6% ownership at the moment. Adam, we might wrap up this stream in around about 5 minutes or so. So get your comments and questions in quick, and we'll try and speed through these. Where are we? Alex, only way I can bring in Dale, Callaghan, and Lindsay is by trading out Peatling. Yep, that's fine. Perryman, yep, that's fine. And Sanders, that's fine. Would mean keeping Flynn. If keeping Flynn, wouldn't be able to afford Dale and Callaghan. Bringing in Dale, Callaghan, Lindsay. I'm a bit confused there, mate, because you're saying you can afford to bring in Dale, Callaghan, and Lindsay by trading out each of Peatling, Perryman, and Sanders. So I think you've muddled things up there. But if you can do those trades that you've mentioned there with those three guys, 100%, 100% do it. Callahan and Lindsay especially. I'm assuming you've already got the likes of Ashcroft and O'Driscoll. If not, go for them ahead of Dale. But yep, I do like it, mate. If you need to keep Flynn for another week, even if it's in your flex, remember it's best 18. So I don't necessarily need to use the flex at the moment when it's best 18. Because you're not, it gives you another option, obviously, for scoring. But yeah, it's one of those things. Where's my background gone? Disappeared. Where are we? Moving on to Tyler. Who are we VCing this week? I said earlier I'm going for McRae. Don't mind Zorko, Cherry. Those are kind of guys that I've got. Don't mind Rosie as well. I don't own him, but another good option. Sorry, here we go. Whereas I trade Flynn, get extra rookie in being Ashcroft and keep Sanders. So as you said earlier, go for Callahan and Lindsay, 100%, and get Ashcroft as well as your third trade in. If you need to keep Sanders for a week, I mean, Flynn probably should play. Just wait maybe tomorrow if you can to see the definitive teams. Because Flynn's got a break-even of 11, I think, from memory, whereas Sanders, I think, has its break-even around about 60-odd, and he's not getting those CBAs, which I don't think he will continue to get those. And Bond's obviously returning, Trelaw, all that sort of stuff, so doesn't bode well for him. 64 is Sanders' break-even, so yep. Or go a Fraser down back versus... No, I'd go Ashcroft, mate. 100% Ashcroft. No worries at all, mate. All the very best for your team. If trading Flynn. Yep. Hopefully that made sense anyway for you, Alex. Jimmy, I'm thinking of going Farrell so that I can get a SPP to Baz next week. Otherwise, I will get Clark instead of Farrell. Yeah, it's hard to say because I'm a little bit worried about Baz still. Good old Baz Ball with his injury. But see, the thing is there, Clark should be a keeper. That's kind of the thing that sticks in my mind. Farrell's got a break-even of 46, so he should go up in price. You could probably ride Farrell as a bit of a playing cash cow potentially, and then upgrade him down the line. So, do that, and means that you can trade SPP to Baz and just wait off on Clark. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, mate. I don't have a definitive answer for you there because I don't know what your defense is. If you need a definitive primo in your defense, probably go for Clark. But, if you need Baz to help out your forward line, for example, to get a rookie off field, like I always ask myself this, like if one trade allows me to get a rookie off field compared to the other one, I more often than not go for that trade that allows me to get that rookie off field because it means that you kind of maximizing the amount of points potential you have by having, having to rely on rookies, depending on the rookies and who they are, of course, because if it's a stronger rookie like an Ashcroft, O'Driscoll, you can, you'd kind of be fine with them having them on field. But if it's a Connor O'Sullivan or a Connor Stone or someone else, that kind of is a bit different. I've got Reed and Trainer on field. Ooh, okay. Well, I guess either of those moves, whether it be Clark or Farrell, they will get a rookie off field anyway. As well as Short. Oh, no, mate. Could you go Short across to Farrell if you wanted to do that? I'm not massive on Farrell personally, but the fact that it does allow you to get Baz next week, could you go Clark this week and maybe look at another trade for next week to allow you to go another player to Baz as opposed to SPP? See if you can do that because, yeah. Is it worth using a boost, which would be my second use to go Hasty to Henderson? Henderson, I don't think is a must-have, mate. Unless you need the cash difference between Hasty down to Henderson. I probably wouldn't, personally. It's like people asking, like, would you trade a Campo to Henderson? I wouldn't, like using a boost especially. No, I wouldn't. I only use a boost if you need to get in a must-have rookie, which I don't think Henderson is. But again, if it helps you, like if you're trading out, I guess, maybe in the context of a Finn O'Sullivan down to a Henderson. Yeah, maybe. Hasty is named as emergency, so he might even play next week. Who knows? Hey, bro, another thing. Trade in Connor O'Sullivan for Patton or hold due to best 18 this round and just trade in Bias next week. Then use that remaining trade for a potential short upgrade. Yeah, if it allows you to have a bit more cash to do that, could you maybe do both? I mean, I'm bringing in O'Sullivan via Finn O'Sullivan, using the flex, of course, to swing things around. And then I'm trading Patton to Bias next week. So I'm kind of doing both of those moves. And you could probably hold short, I think, for another week. I think he's going to maybe score around about 80 odd. He might drop a little bit in cash, but you could probably hold him for another week. And then upgrade him. But I mean, Connor O'Sullivan for Patton, that would give you, actually, no, that would cost you about 15k. And then maybe if you trade a Reed to a Bias potentially, you could do that, or a trainer. But it sounds like money isn't a factor there in terms of those moves. Or even sideways from Track. Nah, Track's okay. I wouldn't worry about Track at the moment. He's not the biggest worry, I don't think, or at least shouldn't be. James, I just want to get rid of a dead rookie. Yeah, I wouldn't, as I said, I wouldn't worry about so many, unless you've got a massive amount of dead rookies. I've only got one at the moment in Campo. I'm not counting Sartis because he will return, I've no doubt, after his bye. So as the next 2 weeks off, and then he will return. And I think he's actually going to be a better cash generator compared to Finn O'Sullivan, which is the reason why I've traded out Finn O'Sullivan ahead of Sartis. All right, we might take last question here, and we'll finish things off because the game is starting in approximately 10 minutes. Cheesy, how are you, mate? Woke up from a nap and see Campo has been dropped. Wish it was a dream. Likewise, mate, especially as a Carlton supporter. What an absolute numpty Michael Voss is. Less said, the better, I think. I've said enough about Voss and Carlton during this stream, and if you need to see it, go back and check it out, Cheesy. I'm not a happy camper, that's for sure. But that's it, ladies and gents. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Really do appreciate your company. And for any point that you've joined in, hopefully I've been able to answer your questions. If not, leave them down in the comment section below because I will try and answer them. Or hit us up, of course, on socials, on Twitter at supercoach_edge. You can hit me up at DamoJ88 as well. And don't forget as well to join our Discord. I will actually grab that link for you and put it in our in the live chat there because it's a great resource. It's been very, very active this season. And the amount of help that people are willing to give other people helping people, as we say, is incredible. So really do love the community getting around each other. So let me grab that link if I can find it. Playing ads in the background. I don't know what the go is there. And as well, if you haven't joined our Open League, feel free to do so. Godspeed to you as well, Slimmy. Joined last minute. We'll go back and see your reaction. Yeah, it's ridiculous, mate. I'm just putting up the link there in the chat to join our Discord. It is free to do so. It's like virtually a message board. It's like Big Footy as a forum combined with, say, Twitter. You throw your messages on there, and then you can join in discussions. We have separate rooms for trades, general discussion, captains, all that sort of stuff. So make sure to join that. And likewise as well, if you haven't yet joined our Open League, make sure you do that because free to join again, and we are giving away a ring as well, a Supercoach ring. So make sure to do so you can see them there in the chat. But that's it, ladies and gents. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. We've got about 10 minutes before the game starts, and make sure to adjust your sides and make all the relevant changes that you need to that are, I guess, contingent upon tonight's game. Ding, ding, boys, indeed, game on. Jack, you've joined us just as we're signing off, mate. We'll have to do it next week. We will try and do these live stream or these, what are we calling it? The round team live streams. Bit of a tongue twister. But good to see you, mate. Hopefully you are well. Hopefully you've had a great start to the season. Make sure to join us on the Discord, Jack, and you can chat to us further there. Put the code there in the comments section in the live chat, so you can click that, join us, free to do so, yada, yada, yada. But thanks again for joining us. Really do appreciate your company as always. And we will see you on the next live stream, or at least until our team talk coming out of this round. And of course, the round 3 Supercoach Edge episode. So that's it, ladies and gents. Thanks as always. And we will catch you once again in the next one. Cheers. All the very best. Good luck.